First, let me introduce myself first for
Yeah.
those of you who don't know me. So my name is Ginevra. I am a holistic counselor and integrative wellness life coach. So I try to bring a little bit of the life coaching perspective into a more holistic well-being, focused on just rituals and practices that can support us throughout our life and tough time. So that's why I thought of offering this workshop today. I thought like, okay, our routines have been completely dismantled. We it's just a new thing. Like, even if we were used to work from home, like I used to work from home before too, but like I can't see my friends, I can't go out, like just routines are different. So I thought that maybe talking a little bit about rituals and routines might have been helpful. So if you want to introduce yourself, just your name, where you're streaming from, and what's your current routine in quarantine. And today we're going to talk about both morning and night routine, so you can share about either one or both if you have both. Or if you don't have a routine, just say, I don't have a routine, I hate routines. I used to hate routines. So my routine hasn't changed a lot, as since January I was working from home anyway, and I've been trying to find a balance between working from home and just doing everything else. But normally what I've noticed is that since quarantine, waking up early has been more of a challenge. So like I normally wake up around 8 to 8:30, and I used to wake up around 7 before that, and I just can't seem to wake up earlier than 8. And I guess that's okay. I'm trying to not be too judgmental about it. And then I have a series of practices and rituals that I'd like to share with you today. And the reason that I wanted to share them is because they've been very helpful for me. And so I thought, well, maybe they can be helpful for others. So I used to be the type of person who hated the word routine, because I like creative practices, and I used to think that any creative shouldn't have a routine, like the bohemian artist type of personality that like does whatever they want at whatever time. And I really resonated with that until I realized that sometimes that would actually get in the way of what I wanted to accomplish. Um, but even more than routine, what I've come to appreciate are small rituals that can fit within different routines. So the reason that I ask all of you to share about your routine is that because, as you've heard, you all do something different. Some of you are still working outside of the home. Some of you are working from home. Some of you are not working. Some of you, like Adam, just go through more of a creative flow and just sort of do whatever feels in alignment. Whereas some of you, like Sana, I think you mentioned, and on Monday you do the herbs, and that's your herb day, and that's your tea day. And so some, like, we all have more or less regular structures. But regardless of what your structure is, then you can implement some rituals. And one of the rituals that I wanted to share with all of you, that this can be done at any time, at any moment of the day, and is actually a prerequisite to maybe implementing different rituals and changing your routine depending on how this goes, is what I like the life force tank. So think of your life force as, like, in Chinese medicine it's called the qi or the ki. You can call it your prana in yogic tradition, is your life force, your energy, your level of energy. And you can think of your level of energy sort of like a gas tank, where you go from empty to full. And some people like to think about it as like a gas tank. For other people, maybe the idea of a thermometer that goes from 0 to 100. So think about it vertically. And the idea is that when, with any action that we perform during the day, our energy tank either depletes or fills up with more or less energy. And different actions, different activities are going to fill us up, and others are going to deplete our energy level. And so the idea is knowing what type of activities fill you up, but also knowing in advance where you're coming from. And so what I call the life force tank check-in is sort of visualizing this life force tank and then understanding if you're coming from a place of, and it could be any number from 0 to 100. Keeping in mind that 0 is like, I don't even have the strength to get out of bed right now. 25 is, I am really low on energy and I should probably slow down. 50 is something like, I can still do my tasks, but I don't have a lot of extra energy. 75 is, I have extra energy. I can accomplish everything that I want to accomplish today, and I have some extra to give. And 100 is, I feel like a rock star today. I can get everything accomplished. I can help all my friends, and I can be of support to others. So the idea is that when we support others, we do some action that deplete our energy, we might want to come from a place of having our glass half full before we give to others. So we serve from a full plate. So anything that's under 50 on our life force tank is our reserves. And in Chinese medicine, they always say to not serve from your reserve, because anything that you start giving to others when your energy plate is half empty is energy level that doesn't come back to you. So it's life force that doesn't come back. And one way to simply do this is, you can do this at any time. You can do this while you're walking, while you're working. You can do this in a meditative position or laying down. And you can close your eyes and just find a comfortable space and put one hand on your heart and one hand on your belly. And if you have to pick up a number that represents your energy level right now, between 0 to 100, what is it? And feel free to write that down in the chat. And Sasha is sharing 3. 3 is pretty low. So I can imagine you're very tired, Sasha, as you share with us you're working a lot, 12 hours a day. And thank you for working and your service. We have 17, 89 for Sage, 49 for Adam, 70 for John. Mine is 68. Oh, sorry, I'm texting to Adam privately, so I'm gonna put it back in the chat. I'm 68. Adam is also 68. 43 for Travis, 70 for Jeff, 89 for Irma, 54 for Jeff. Sage says, I like the 100 scale. Doria, 99, a million billion, and also 12. So lots of up and downs. And Adam is 49. 49 for Adam. Perfect. Thank you everyone for sharing. And yes, I mean, this is a practice that is gonna show you how your energy level changes throughout the day. And something that I find very helpful to do is do this as soon as I wake up in the morning. So checking in with myself before I pick up the phone, before I get out of bed. I open my eyes, and after a while it kind of comes naturally. I open my eyes, I close my eyes again. I put one hand on my heart, one hand on my belly, and I ask myself, what is my energy level today? And depending on where it falls on that scale, if I notice that it's below 50, I try to focus my day more on receiving than on giving. And it's not always going to be possible. Maybe some days I have a whole day planned with workshops and I have to clean the house and I have to do groceries, and I wake up and I'm at a 45. And I'm like, okay, some things in my day can be rescheduled, some things cannot be rescheduled. But regardless of whether I can or cannot reschedule my activities, maybe I can find ways to receive more energy and support from the outside world. So if in a day like that, a friend reaches out and say, hey, I'm having a very hard time, I need to talk to you right now, and I'm still at a 45, maybe I can find a way of explaining that I don't have a lot of energy, I don't have a lot of extra capacity, and would love to be there for them, but maybe I can be there for them tomorrow. Or if there is something like maybe grocery shopping can be postponed to the next day. Just finding a way to adjust so that whatever I'm doing, I'm trying as much as possible to serve from a full cup. And this practice, it's a constant work in progress. It's never perfect, but it's one little thing that has taught me that regardless of where I'm at, and Serge says boundaries, I love it. Yes. So boundaries are important in this case, because if I know where I'm coming from, then I can come from a place of authenticity. If I feel like I have to serve, I have to help others, regardless of how I'm feeling, I might end up depleting myself. I might go from that 45 to a 25, and then I might feel resentful, angry, and I'm even more tired, and I have even less energy to accomplish whatever I needed to accomplish that day. So it's a kind of thin balance between being of service, providing support to others, but also being accountable for what I need to do and being real with myself on where I'm at that day. So these practice, I feel like it's a sort of staple. Like imagine it as like having oil, sugar, and flour in your kitchen. If there is one practice that I recommend that you can do at any time, this little ritual that you can do regardless of what routine looks like, it takes literally 3 minutes. And one way to incorporate this life force tank check-in into your practice is to put it into another practice that I do in the morning that I call the 4 R's. And the 4 R's are, it stands for 1, root down, 2, raise up, 3, relax back, and 4, receive. And I'm gonna guide you through all of them, and I'm gonna also write them down here in the chat. Root down, raise up, relax back, and receive. The whole concept behind this practice is that when we wake up in the morning, especially during challenging times, if there is a challenging time for like socially, globally in this case, as soon as we step out of our space, and if we live with someone and we share a bedroom, it might be as soon as we step out of our bodies and we open our eyes and we're back in the real world, there are going to be people, things, messages, social media, news that come into our field. Let's put it that way. Like imagine that around you, you have a bubble, and this bubble is sort of as big as you opening your arms, raising your arms up, and like sort of create, you can even sort of like feel it, create like a bubble around you. And whatever comes into this bubble is somehow gonna interact with you and is gonna affect you, positively or less positively. And so if you are aware of it, and if you can come to this interaction with the outside world from a place of grounding, then you know how to interact with other people. So if you have a little bit more time in the morning, something else that's very very helpful to do together with the life force check-in is this 4R practice. And the root down stands for wherever you find yourself, you can stand up from your bed and go to your yoga mat. You can keep laying down in bed. The idea is to notice wherever parts of yourself, of your body, that are touching on something. So if you're sitting down, it would be your legs, your seat bone, your hips, sitting on a pillow, on the floor, or on the yoga mat. If you're laying down, it would be paying attention to your shoulders, your back of your head, your back, your hips and your legs just laying down. And you can imagine, if that helps you, you can imagine that you're laying down on a park on a fresh green grass, or you're laying down on the beach and you're laying on warm, soft sand, and just imagine any connection with Mother Earth, any connection with the ground, any connection with the soil. You can even imagine roots that are going down from wherever you're sitting or laying down. And just connect to wherever is below you. And that's gonna ground you. And that's the rooting down practice. Depending on how much time you have, you might even want to imagine these roots going down and breaking through the cement, going even down into the different layer of the planet until you reach the very core of our planet. This bubbly big core made of lava and whatever heating minerals that we have down there, just connecting to that and knowing that you always have the ability to reconnect to the very core of Mother Earth, and to come back down. If you wake up and you have storming thoughts, if you wake up and your first instinct is to grab your phone and checking the news or checking messages, rooting down is going to be very helpful. This saved me a little bit, like around a month and a half ago with quarantine started, because all of my family is in Italy. All of my family and my childhood friends are in Italy, and they tend to write to me during the night, US time. And so the first thing that I would wake up at 8 a.m., 8:30, and the first thing that I would do is grab the phone, open WhatsApp, and I would have 50 messages, like from my girlfriends, from my auntie, from my parents, updating me about the quarantine and the virus. And then like 10 minutes after, I would be like, okay, now I'm ready to start my day. And I needed to ground down. So this rooting down practice really helped me, doing it before anything else, so that I have a solid foundation. Gina wanted to say something.
You doing it, like, it sounds like you're, like whatever's attracting you in the morning, you do that first and then you're grounding down, versus grounding down before you would read your WhatsApp messages?
Yeah, I start doing this before I open my phone. So I give myself 15 minutes time.
Do it like first thing. So you do it first before you do it.
So I open my eyes, and basically if I need to go to the restroom, I go to the restroom. If I'm thirsty, I drink water. If I want to make a tea, I make a tea, and I go back to my bed or to the mat that's below my bed, and I do this practice. And then after, I switch on my phone. Yeah, I
so
feel
the practice is like it's a meditation. I mean, do you want to lead us in it? I'm a little confused about the rooting down.
So I'm sharing the practice, and maybe I can lead I want to share all the 4R, and then I can guide it for all of you.
Okay, great.
So this is the first R. The second R is raising up. And raising up is the opposite. Like instead of grounding down and connecting to anything that's below, the raising up is connecting with anything that's above. So any source of energy or higher power that you might feel like you want to connect to, you can connect through the top of your head. So you can even imagine that the roots that were going down are sort of like going all the way up through your spine, and they're sprouting up. Like you can imagine yourself like a tree, and the roots are going down, and then up is your branches. And from there you can receive connection with, you can call it God, you can call the universe, you can call it the sky, you can call it the birds, wherever you feel that helps you to just feel connected, to feel like your body is in this place between the above and the below. And after you do the raise up, it's the relax back. So relax back can be a very simple somatic practice into going into your body and raising your shoulders to your ears, and then bringing your shoulders back and just relax, literally relax your back. And that's when you ask yourself, how is my energy level today? What's that number between 0 and 100? And then depending on that number, you receive, and you ask yourself the question, what do I need to receive today in order to go through my day? So we ground down, we connect up to anything that, and it doesn't have to be anything too woo-woo or spiritual. It can simply be like, okay, I want to connect to the fact that the sun is up there this morning and it's a new day and the sun has risen again. And just the fact that the sun has risen again after the night is sort of a miracle. And then you relax, you open your heart, relax your shoulders back, and get ready to ask yourself the question, what do I need to receive today? And whatever comes back is gonna be different each day. Some days the response from yourself could be, I need to take a nap. Sometimes is, I need to move my body. Sometimes is, I need to call my grandma. And that's because calling your grandma for you is gonna give you energy. Like, how are you gonna incorporate receiving more energy from the outside world? Obviously in a way that's respectful of others. The reason that I didn't share a specific name for it, it's because I think it's different for everyone. And I think that for some of us might identify with a very specific source of higher power. So for some people it can be the heaven, for some people is the universe, for some people they call it God. But not everyone is spiritual. So not everyone really believes that there is a higher power out there. And the reason that I find this practice helpful, regardless of what your spiritual belief is that literally by raising up and imagining that there is, like, I love the way that you said it, like a red thread that's connecting the top of our head to our pelvis, and just opening up to possibility, opening up, like being curious about what's out there. Because if we call it heaven, then what if someone doesn't believe in heaven? I still believe this practice is helpful regardless of that. And not everyone is also interested in the chakras. Not everyone knows what the chakras are. Not everyone wants to connect to that idea of opening the crown chakra, right? Whether I believe it or not, some people might not. But the raising up is just, okay, first I'm grounding and then I'm opening up to whatever the world has to say and to offer. But I do it in a way that with an open heart, relaxing back and ready to receive. So you can find a comfortable position. You can sit, or you can lay on the floor even if you want. And first thing, you can keep your hands on your lap or on your knees or on the side of your body if you're laying down. You can close your eyes and just connect to your breath. You don't necessarily have to change your breath. You can just connect to it and notice it. Notice if it's fast or slow. And just keep inhaling and exhaling through your nose. And you can start by paying attention to any part of your body that's connected to, whether it be the ground or the couch or the bed or the pillow. Like, what are you laying on? What are you sitting on? If you're sitting, you can connect to the sensation of your tailbone and your hips down on the floor or the mat. And if you're laying down, maybe you can even pay attention to the back of your head and your shoulders, your back, your legs, the back of your legs. And from there, imagine that any part of you that's connected below you, there's little roots that start to calm down. And you're sinking a little bit deeper into whatever surface you're standing or laying on or sitting on. And these roots keep going down through all the different layers. Doesn't matter if you're on the 10th floor of a building, they just keep going down until they reach the soil. They keep going down even more until they reach the core of the earth. And connect to that warmth, that bubbly lava core. And feel your weight, the weight of your body going a little bit down, a little bit more down, just melting into whatever surface you're on. Just notice that you have a body, that your thoughts are inside yourself, that your heart is beating within your chest. And you are present here right now in this moment. And now start bringing your attention to the top of your head. And as you inhale, you might even want to sit a little bit taller if you're sitting, or stretch a little bit and elongate your spine if you're laying down. And imagine there is a red thread that's connecting the top of your head with your pelvic. And as much as your body is real in this moment right now, your thoughts can travel farther away. And so at the same time, you're a body in the present moment and your mystery. And your thoughts can connect to whatever source of higher power or intuition or source of energy that you can imagine on the top of your head. And just remember that these two sources of energy, the energy coming from our own planet, the Earth, that's nourishing us, and any sort of intuition or higher power above you, they're always available to you. You're at the center of everything. Your body is a vessel between the above and the below. And on your next inhale, you can bring your shoulders up to your ears. And if you're sitting down, open your shoulders back and open your chest. And if you're laying down instead, you can sort of just sink a little bit deeper into your shoulders. And start by leading with your chest. Lead with your heart. Relax your shoulders back. Feel your body relax and melt a little bit more. Feeling like you're protected by that bubble or magnetic field that we talked about earlier. Feeling safe in your body, feeling protected. And now you can ask yourself, how's my energy level today? On a scale from 0 to 100. And then ask yourself the following question. What do I need to receive today? What would feel very nourishing? And is this something that I can give to myself? Or do I need to reach out to support to other people? Do I have extra energy to give to others today? What do I need to receive today? And just notice what that is for you. And whenever you're ready, you can open your eyes. And you might want to write that down on a piece of paper if you have a journal. Sometimes I write that down on my hand, on the palm of my hand, so that during the day I remember what my initial thought in the morning was. Like sometimes my first response is to what do I need to receive today is I need to receive, I don't know, this morning was I need to receive validation. And sometimes I can give that validation to myself, but sometimes my thoughts are storming and maybe I need to receive validation from others. So I have a few friends, like an inner circle of friends that I can reach out to when I'm having self-doubts. And it's like, hey, I need to receive validation today. Can you just remind me that I'm sort of doing okay and that I'm a good person and I'm not doing that bad? And as I said in the meditation, some things you're going to be able to give to yourself. Maybe it's a hot bath and a nap, right? Maybe is letting know your loved ones that that day you need to receive a little bit extra gentleness because your energy level is very low. And that's how I try to start my day every day. Before I switched on my phone, before I interact with my roommate, I interact with the outside world, before I read the news, just helps me to ground. And this writing down things on the palms of my hand helps me to remind it, to remember during the day, because sometimes I just forget. I go about my day, I start writing emails, and maybe what I needed to do was pay attention to my breathing, and then I forget. And then I get a night and I was like, oh, shoot, what was my receiving practice today? I completely forgot. So yeah, writing it down can help. If anyone else wants to share, and then I wanted to share a couple of practices for the night. Feel free to unmute yourself if you want to share a little bit more. And okay, so I'll start talking about the evening. So the evening sort of goes parallel to the morning. So in the morning, we are like a blank state. Like we wake up from our dreams. Hopefully we dream, hopefully we slept well. We wake up and we're like a clean whiteboard. We're waiting for everything to be written on us by people, by information, by work. And we go by our day. And by the way, the life force tank thing and the 4-hour practice is something that you can do at any time. Like if you realize at 12 p.m. that you haven't done it, you can sit down and do it. It's going to be helpful at any time, because then after you do it, you kind of have a better idea of where you're at. And at night, it's the opposite of the morning. The night, our whiteboard, it's fully written up of stuff. And what happens, especially when we're home a lot, is that we might feel overwhelmed by everything that's going on in our minds by the time we go to bed. And so something that I found personally helpful, and it's always recommended in a lot of yogic practices and Chinese medicine, is to stop any interaction with electronics 1 hour before going to bed. Now, this during quarantine might even be more difficult to do, because our source of social interaction and care and love is basically the internet. Like it comes through us, through our phones and through the internet. But the idea is that we need to download anything that's in our minds for enough time so that by the time we want to actually get asleep, our mind is a little bit clearer than it was before. So sort of like taking an eraser and start canceling out some parts of that whiteboard that has been filled during the day. And 2 great practices to do that. One is called setting the alignment. And setting the alignment is like, imagine the alignment is like fertile soil. And it's kind of like you're preparing the soil in order for seeds to be planted in it. And you do that at night by writing down on your journal all the things that you think you have to do the next day. So that as you sleep, your subconscious kind of works in the background and already knows that has to get ready for whatever is going to happen the next day. Because I don't know if you've ever happened to you, like you go to bed and then at 3 a.m. in your sleep, you start thinking, oh shoot, tomorrow I have to do the laundry. Oh shoot, tomorrow is tax day. It happens to me quite often. I don't know if you've ever happened to you. But setting the alignment means that you take a piece of paper and you write down all the things that you know you have to do tomorrow or that you would like to do tomorrow, and you let it go. You put it down there. So that you're literally downloading, you're taking this tank that your mind is, your tank full of thoughts, and you're downloading your thoughts. You're emptying out thoughts from your mind to a piece of paper.
What did you call it? Setting the alignment?
Setting the alignment. Alignment is a word in Latin. It comes from Latin. And like alignment is like mud. It's like that mixy, like watery mud that the gardeners prepare before they plant the seed. So that when they plant the seed, you don't plant a seed in a dry soil. You set the alignment before that. Or it's like a gardening metaphor. So that's one practice that's helpful before going to bed. And then the other practice is writing down gratitude. And if I can find out 3 things that you can be grateful for on your day, 2 things happen. One is that by thinking about the things that you're grateful for that day, you're basically reliving the movie of your day in your mind. And so you're reprocessing everything that happened during that day, and you're sort of like closing a chapter. It's like the how do you call that, Gina? Like the end titles in the movie? End titles?
Yeah, the end.
The end. Yeah, it's like putting an end to your day. Like you start seeing the end titles, the contributors. Okay, who was the director of my day? Who was the screenplayer of my day? Who were the contributors to my day? And you do that by writing the gratitudes, like, oh, I'm so grateful that today my roommate cleaned the dishes for me. I'm so grateful that today my mom called me and told me that she loved me. I'm grateful that today, the end credits. Thank you, Adam. That was the word I was looking for. So you relive your day and you end it on a positive note. So between that and setting the alignment, you're kind of clearing out the whiteboard and you're getting ready to go to bed. And another practice that I also really like, after I do all of this, I lay down on my back, and again, I put one hand on my heart and one hand on my belly, right before closing my eyes. And whatever type of love that I can give to myself, I try to give it to myself. That's a very intimate moment, like going to bed. Sometimes we put it off because thoughts and emotions come up when we're in the dark and like we're alone in our bed, or maybe we're beside our partner in our bed, but they're not talking. Maybe they're already snoring. We're there laying awake because like, okay, I need to go to bed now. Give whatever you need to receive, you can give it to yourself. Maybe you want to hug yourself. Or maybe you want to stroke your own hair. Or maybe you want to daydream and think about laying on a tropical beach in Hawaii and just connect to your heart and your belly. You can feel the breath in your belly as your hands raises, and then sort of push your belly button towards your spine as you exhale. And just ask yourself, what can I give to myself right now before I start falling asleep? And that's one way to end your day. Downloading, emptying your mind, reframing to the lenses of gratitude, and then giving one extra piece of love to yourself. For me, because I'm a very touchy person, most of the time is hugging myself in bed. But if you like, and like think about when we talked about the love languages, like if you like words of affirmation, maybe you can tell yourself, oh, Gina, you did a great job today. Or you didn't do as great as a job as I wanted, but you still did that thing right. Like give yourself what you would like someone else to give you. They might not be there to give you. And obviously, like if you have an amazing partner and you're like, hey, I really need you to tell me that you love me before I go to bed. And that partner is like, I love you so much. Perfect. You don't need to give it to yourself. But I feel like that might be not the case for most of us, or for some of us. And so what would make you feel nourished and happy before you go to bed? You want to hug your cat? You want to hug a pillow? You want to have a stuffed animal? Do you want to daydream about something?
Right.
Yeah, and regarding again what Adam was saying, like that you don't really have a time, right, in which you want to go to bed. And like maybe start giving yourself, as a suggestion, a window. I would like to go to bed between 11 and 12. And during that time, you can sort of plan around the fact that the movie that you're watching might end around 11:15. And then you take that time to go to bed and start the gratitude and the journaling and go to bed. And it's going to be screwed up. Most of the time it's going to be screwed up. But maybe having an idea in advance of one hour window in which ideally you like to get to bed by, helps with planning things in advance. Like you kind of work backwards and plan things in advance for that. Something else that might help, that it helps me, is burning a candle, burning some incense, or drawing an oracle card. I have like 3 different sets of oracle cards that help me to connect with spirit or higher power, call it whatever. And that can be done in the morning or in the evening, sort of to create a sacred space. Like, okay, I want to go to bed. Let me start to create a stage for it. Put a candle, I put some flowers by my bedstand, put some music on, maybe I give myself a massage. Just create a stage for the routine that you want to implement. Because routine don't just happen like that. Like we work towards a routine. And rituals, little rituals, even 30 seconds ritual, something very simple as lighting a candle, can help to get into their ideal routine. Adam was saying, I just bought incense. Yes, great. Yeah, any flame, any water, any earth, like think about the 4 elements. If you can bring the 4 elements into your morning and bedtime routine, light a candle, have a glass of water, open the windows or close the windows so the air element comes in and out. That kind of sets the stage, right? So we all have an internal compass that helps us to just orientate ourselves in the world, right? For some people is elements, for some people is spirit, the universe, whatever, right? Using that internal compass to stabilize ourselves. So wherever you have, use it in a way that helps you. I don't think there is an absolute truth, a ritual that has to work for everyone. Because then if we start thinking about it in a holistic way, like in Ayurveda, we all have different constitutions. So in Ayurveda, the constitutions are Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. And Vata reconnects to the element of air and ether. Pitta reconnects to the elements of oil and fire. and kapha is earth and water. So in traditional Indian medicine and Chinese medicine is kind of similar. Depending on your constitution, you should have a different routine, because what is going to be helpful for a kapha constitution, which is earth and water, is going to be not as helpful for vata. So like these rituals that I've shared today are like sort of more like generic rituals that help everyone. But then there are even more practical kind of holistic rituals that adjust to your specific constitution. I love all of this. Like I love the aromatherapy, the little sachets under the bed. I feel like at bedtime, anything that help us to come back to our bodies. Because by the time we go to bed, we like as I was saying, like our big whiteboards is full of things. Maybe we're a lot in our minds. So anything that helps us to just come back to any smell, any taste, any color. Like if you have a diffuser, a lot of electric diffusers, they change lights. And so like they go through the rainbow. I feel like that also sets the stage for a relaxing, with a relaxing pain.
This has been really lovely, Ginevra. Thank you so much.
Thank you all for coming. If you have questions, you want to talk a little bit more, I have a few more minutes. Otherwise, have a great weekend and happy belting.